Right, so here's a more unusual set. This is in such lovely condition from 1989, Maxon MX2000, and it's a CPT only radio. We've shown one of these before. I've got one, but half my buttons are missing. So this is in such lovely condition. Yeah, right. So I've totally forgotten what's in these, and this is again from Alan. This is a repair from Alan rather than a gift, and it'll be going back via intermediary. We've got the instruction book with it, and I'm very surprised that. Oh yeah, I was going to say there's no circuit. Well, there is. And stuff that Maxcom and Maxon did, and the Maxon built Midlands. It's supposed to do 0.5 of a microvolt for 20 decibels, is it? Depends what the. It depends whether they're measuring that in EMF or PD mode, and we measure it in the harder to achieve EMF mode. So it's a 40-channel EU FM only set. You've got an S meter socket on the back. I think he says he's done a makeshift power lead. So I think that are there 3 connector one on these, and he's. I think that's what he said anyway. I can't remember. Well, find out whether it's a 3-wire connector or not. There were some at the time which we had memory backup. Yeah, so it's a 3 connector one. So if he's only got it on 2, you've got no memory backup. So he must have linked those. It is. You'd have to make up the lead, and I have seen some illegal AM FCC Midland Precision Series 3-pin plugs be rewirable, and you could rewire one of those to produce the 3rd connector. Because your centre one is battery all the time for memory backup, and then your usual one for actually running the radio. I think you can kind of run that to ignition. It's just that it's got memory backup, so I don't know how he's wired that, and we'll find out. But that's a modification which may have to be accepted, because apart from making up a power lead, you're going to be hard pushed to get a 3-prong one. That's the wrong kind of screwdriver. So it's got screws in the back. I That's just in case we've got to slip the back case off. I've just loosened the screw. The self-tappers, which is annoying. And normal screws, which will be M3 machine screws. So we do struggle with CPT channels here. I've had as little as half a mile range on 4 watts because of foreign interference. So when we get to the on-the-air test for this, we'll probably be hopping around channels trying to find anything which hasn't got S7 plus of foreign interference on it. Just pop the speaker up, off. Smaller speaker. There's a knackered speaker on my bench. So you've got into 1989 and you get a smaller speaker. Yeah, so he's linked the 2 across. And that is really all you can do unless you can get a 3-conductor lead. So all that would have to do to put that back to standard is to take that link out and have the 3-conductor lead. We've got 1 3-conductor lead in stock, but he's modified that and that's absolutely fine. Neat layout. Definitely a step forward. I mean, they were making the Maxon 30 at the same time, and this is clearly the next generation board, which it has to be, because with it being a CPT set, the interference levels have got to be much more stringent. So the fact you've got that in a sealed can, the fact you've got crystal filter, because they introduced a minimum receive specification which the UK 2781 specification didn't have. So you can see what they've done there. The Maxon 30 is on a production line at the same time, but it is still the 1981 design, but with a crystal filter bunged in it. Whereas this is a different ball game, isn't it, in the technology? But it's before they've gone over to surface mount. So I'll try and find my way around it rather than have to start making lots of notes. But we can see this is going to be the transmitter, and I can see this is going to be the receiver. So it's just some of the presets which I may just glance at the circuit just to make things quicker. So I'm going to make a start on this. It's come with the Maxon factory original mic. It says dynamic mic, 500 ohms on it. I mean, we all thought that when the CPT channels became available in, it was 87, we all thought that it was going to be the best thing since sliced bread, because we'd be free from the 1 nano copy Wallies, and of course all we ended up with was loads and loads of interference. So instead of having S1 or S3 of residual background noise, we ended up with S9 of residual background noise, and thus cutting your range down dramatically, and it's still the case today. So I'll switch it on. I'll switch the power supply on, and yesterday we disconnected our crocodile clip lead, so today we'll be back onto it. Before we end this video, I'll dig out the three conductor lead, and if it's still on a display pack with the part number on it, I'll show that, so that if anyone ever sees one available and they want one, they'll know what to do. So it boots up on channel 9 as it's supposed to. Yeah, because it's not a real channel selector, it's just an up down on a rotary thing. It's just an up down switch. So let's connect the PA. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3 4 5. Oh dear. Doesn't like that, does it? One two one two, and now we find out where the knobs go missing, because I just felt that brush past me onto the floor. So we'll go looking for that later on. So it doesn't work on PA. That's not a good start. We hear it hissing on receive. Right, so I'll go over to picture in picture and see if anything works. 2720597. It's pretty well. It's pretty well on frequency. You can hear synthesizer whine, which you wouldn't got on the previous model. One two one two. Where are we? We are there. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Now I've got a monitor receiver because we've got a H100. I don't know if anyone missed the announcement, but Thunderbolt sent me one of their new hand portables for evaluation. So we'll be doing that in probably about 7 days. But I need to get through some customer repairs first. I'm expecting that to be nice, but I'm not going to. If it isn't nice, I'm going to have to say so, aren't I? But I think it will be. We're not in 1981 where we've got people writing magazine reviews, which certainly was not me, saying that sets which were dreadful were absolutely lovely when they're not. Now I wonder how we get this into another. That's it. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2, 1 2 1 2, 1 2 1 2. So I think we've got a duff mic or something there. So the next thing, how many pins is this? Oh, it's 6 pin, isn't it? So I can't just plonk something else on it. 1 2 1 2. Wallow. 1 2. Well, we're going to have to start by looking at the mic. Let's turn the squelch down. I'd hate to have to get ours out of storage to borrow the mic off it. Right, and let's hope the mic, the actual mic insert actually works. It seems to be exhibiting noisy switch symptoms. And at least you can get into it. I'd like to get this done in one day, but I've got a lot of other things to do. Now we're in December, I've 26 church services to play for. So when that kicks in, there's a lot of preparation. 1 2 1 2. So I don't think that works. Alright, so let's go through a tune-up. So make sure we've definitely got picture in picture on. We have. So what do I write down here? Right, so what's the power? Good grief, it's doing 5.5. What's that about? There's people who love to kill their radios, aren't there? Right, let's pop the channel down. Well, at least it's consistent, more or less. And they don't have low power because they don't have to on CPT. So we don't seem to have got any coil stretcher present, so what we'll just do is make sure this is balanced. To be honest, it looks pretty balanced, but I'm going to go through it anyway. That's the wrong tool. No wonder it's making not happy noises. I'm unkeying between the stages and waiting a few seconds because it won't be able to support this power without killing something. wonder if this is a power preset. But it might be the meter if it's got a meter. The circuit diagram to see how it's achieved. Looks like it's RV103. Right, 4 watts now. I'll have to look at that with the spectrum analyzer. That's going to be the second harmonic trap. That's something else we'll come back to. We'll be coming back to most of this, I can see. 4.05 watts, 4 watts. So that's nice. You don't get some massive range increase. You don't get 25% more range because it's 25% more power, you know. You just thrash the radio and get an extra 10 yards. It's like having a record player amplifier and your amplifier's 5 watts and then you put, or amplifiers 4 watts, and then you put a 5 watt. You're not going to notice any difference because it's all in dB, isn't it? Right, I've brought our current. I'm not done yet to 1319, which isn't much of an improvement. Oh, it is, but I'm not done because I'm going to check that with the spectrum analyzer. I'll come back to that. So deviation we can't do because there's something wrong with the mic. We can do frequency, so let's go over to the frequency counter. This is fun, isn't it? There we go, 27205 toggling 499, that'll do me. 27205. So there's no need to touch the VCO, there's no indication it's out of lot. It's not grunting at me now, it's now doing 4 watts instead of 5. Let's see what this receiver is doing. I think the point is with that memory that it's not that the set's got memories, but if you switch it off and it's on your usual channel, in our case 31, when you turn it back on again it'll still be on channel 31, whereas if you disconnect the power with a normal lead like this and it's just linked across, what will happen is it will always boot up on channel 9. So that's what it's about. It's not that sensitive. Have we got RF gain? Yeah. Now it is. So you've got switchable RF gain. So we've got oh well, 0.26. 0.22, and 0.64. Squelch. My goodness, that's clunky. It's a bit wishy-washy at 17, 18 microvolts. And the sensitivity on the squelch is not good. Let's try that again. That's dreadful. That's better. 0.3. So you've got to be careful with that squelch control. So S9 is showing S9 on the meter, and if there's now a separate RF meter, it's reading a full set of bars. So back to this circuit diagram. RV102 is transmit and RV101 is receive. So there's transmit and there's receive. So when I key it up, it should read 4. Now it does, but I want to know that it's in the right place. So let's adjust it so that it's just 4, okay, like that. Not thrashing it 4. And that will be receive, as I say. But everything's been set to full, and I just find that bizarre. Right, we'll go over to the SINAD meter and we'll have a... I'll tell you what, we'll look at the oscilloscope first. Put S9 on and have a look at recovered audio. So the FM chip is there, so chances are that's the detector. Yes, quite right, and it was out. So we'll now go over to the SINAD meter and see whether anything can be got out of this already excellent receive. And turn the squelch down. So that was already spot on. That was already spot on. Fraction on that one. Little bit on that one. Possibly something on that. We'll move to the IFs and put a bit more signal on. Wow, that was out a bit. Not so with that one. So let's get a new reading. Oh, good. 0.22. Just under 0.2. And 0.57. Now they said 0.5. PD. Yeah, now then, they have actually put PD. So we'll switch this to PD. And I'll give you what it's doing in PD figures. It is doing just under 0.3 of a microvolts for it's doing 0.3 for in PD mode for 20 dB. So it is better than. It is in. It has. This is the first time I've seen them actually put PD, but we use EMF, which is harder to achieve. So that's where we are. Well, that actually comes up to spec. So we'll go to an S9 signal and see whether we've still got S9 on the meter. And I'll just make sure it's in the right place. Why are not having any effect? We'll go back to 100 microvolts. Yeah, that's because it hasn't got as much adjustment range as I'd like. So I don't want it. That's probably about where we want it to be. So now when I put 9 on, we've got 9 coming up. We can make that happen. So yeah, I think that's now set right. So we've got deviation to sort out and squelch. Let's put squelch to full. And see which one of these presets. I would think this is going to be squelch, but I would think wrongly. That's squelch. They've actually, their maximum was minimum. And that's now in the correct position, 100 microvolts. Let's see what the sensitivity of the squelch now is. It was already excellent. You've got to be so careful with this squelch control. It's very... You really got to be careful to get a proper reading. So we've got 0.8 of a microvolt. Because that wouldn't be enough to squelch out just day-to-day noise in town these days. Good, so that is done. So we now know that's going to be deviation when we get a working mic. So it's probably that the PA does work, and it's just that the mic doesn't. Switch to PA. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So cleaning the switch has taken effect, but it's coming through both speakers, which is frustrating, but I think they do. Testing 1 2 1 2. It does. It just comes through both, like the Maxon 4E and all the other ones did, which is disappointing to me. So let's see whether we can get some deviation on it now. So I'm glad the insert wasn't knackered. One two one two. Wallow. It's actually reading right on there. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. So it looks like the switch was just very dirty. I mean, they're self-cleaning, aren't they, if they use them? But if you haven't used it for 30 years, then that's going to be an issue. I'm just going to double check that the deviation is what we say, just in case the Marconi test set is playing up today. Switch the oscilloscope off. I don't have to tune this one, it's automatic. Wow, it's very, very slightly low. Wow, and actually full is where it needs to be. I think they learnt the lesson that they've got people turning up sets to 15 kilohertz and transmitting on several channels at once and causing bleed over, and the only people they sounded any good to were people on fidelity thousands. So I'm going to leave it for that for now, and it's about, I'll just do another reading off this one. Wow, it is 2.0 to 2.3 kilohertz. I like them a little tiny bit more than that, but that is the extent of the amount, and that's pretty normal. Some of the new sets were difficult to even get into. So there we go. I'll just come back later and we'll do a few things like the accounts in between. Just wanted to show we've got this on the spectrum analyzer. Are we on picture in picture? Yes, we are. We're looking at the harmonics here. That's the one which can end up on aircraft bands, so just want to minimise that because that's there we go. That's the second harmonic down and the third harmonic. So let's just see what we're actually getting on that. I'll just unkey. It's actually 136 megs is the one. It's at minus 62 dBm, so that's the only one we've really got. So I've just, because I'd upset that, I've just thought I'd correct it. So bear in mind that is a harmonic trap, nothing to do with tuning the transmitter up. Right, so I've been on my hands and knees with a torch and found the missing button. So if you buy one of these sets, no wonder most of the buttons are missing. They go flying off. I'd be tempted to put some Bostik adhesive on. Oh, scan. We didn't look at that. Yeah, it works. And yeah, and it resumes. Excellent. There we are. We'll get the lid back on. And we'll do a scratchy corner test, but it depends what the weather is like, and by weather I mean radio weather. If we end up with S9 of foreign interference, it isn't going to work very well, is it? And if we've got kind of more normal radio conditions, it may well work great. So it's CPT FM only. You can see the quality's up a notch from the 4E type chassis, and as I said, I was still building the 30E at this time with that other older chassis. You can see how the quality's up, as required by CPT. And it breaks the mould, doesn't it, having a different colour case. Now I've got to remember to put those extra screws in the back. We're going to put it on the aerial. Just get these screws in. Unplug the extension speaker, unplug the PA. So really the biggest... somebody's been in this and they've just turned every preset to full. And you know, in the case of the, was it the S meter or the squelch, something like that, full was minimum, so it was not working well at all. Yeah, we'll just turn everything up. We had this with television sets back in the day. I'm trying to realign colour television convergence because somebody's been a silly what's it. It's not easy. Right, on the aerial it goes. And before we close this video, I'm going to have a look in my spares box and see if I can find the one and only 3-pin lead that we've got. One and a Roger. Well, I'll tell you what, that's not noisy, is it, today? Right, we'll leave it like that. We'll do an on the air test. So just going to, we'll fix PA, mic, switch dirty, and there we go. So I'll just see if I can find that lead. Yep, I found it. There's the one and only 3-pin lead. Ground. Accessory terminal and bat. So that's what they do for the memory backup. Otherwise, when you switch it off, it'll go back to channel 9 or whatever. It's always channel 9, isn't it? A bit like the Midlands. It could be the same chip, but they've had the sense to do a memory backup. And you can see it's got 3 conductors: black, brown, I'm colourblind, I think it's brown, and red. So there we go, you've seen one, but it's lost its header card, but we do have one, and that's a useful thing for me to keep. I think it's a rewirable plug. The Midland plugs, which I said were on the AM FCC approved Midland Precision series, were like this but in white. But they're plugs to look out for because they come in boxes of stuff, you know. You go to a radio rally, box of rubbish for £3 or something, and there you've got a lead in there. So there we are. So thanks for watching. Unusual set, and I say it's CPT FM only. I'm very pleased to have been issued the instruction book with that. We'll get that scanned, and then that's freely available to let people have a copy of. Thanks for watching.